In tonight's reality check, NBC 15's Christian Jennings reports the victim in this case hopes her story will give other women hope that justice is possible.
Names in this story have been changed to protect the victim's identity.
It was October 13th, 1994, 4:30 in the morning, when Kathy heard a loud crash. Someone had kicked in her back door.
And then all of a sudden, there he was.
She never saw his face, only a shadow of a man standing over her in her bedroom.
I was screaming so loud, and he put a pillow over my face. I opened my mouth again when he took the pillow off to try to scream, and he took the comforter and pushed it in my mouth and pushed so hard he pushed the tooth out of my head.
That was only the beginning of the violence.
Got me by the leg and yanked me off the bed, slammed me to the floor, Then he grabbed the telephone card and tied up my hands. And then from there he got his satisfaction.
Once she was certain he was gone, she desperately ran for help.
And I was screaming, running as hard as I could go to my neighbors, and they met me at the back door. There I was, blood, all down my face.
Her phone line had been cut on the outside, so he knew he was going to go in there.
Kathy's daughter Jane says nothing could have prepared her for the moment she realized her mother had been raped.
She still had the phone cord wrapped around her arm, her wrist. She was bloody. It was horrible. It was terrible to see her mom like that.
Kathy was 58 at the time. Her case went cold, and for more than 20 years, she lived every day in fear, never knowing who her attacker was, always wondering if he was someone she knew.
I had to leave my beautiful little house, and so I was so afraid that he would come back there, and still afraid that he would come find me, some kind of way he would find me, So I lived in fear until we were called 2 years ago.
The call she's referring to came from Mobile police. See, the night Kathy was attacked, she went straight to the hospital for a rape kit where DNA evidence was collected. The kit sat for years inside MPD's evidence locker. That is until 2015, when Lieutenant Joe Rose sent Kathy's kit to the State Department of Forensic Sciences for testing. And just like that, they got a DNA match through a system called CODIS, linking now 52-year-old Paul Bailey to the crime. He was already in prison for kidnapping and robbing another woman just 1 month after he raped Kathy.
How does a kit go more than 20 years without being tested, without being sent through CODIS?
Okay, actually it was tested initially. The problem was, once the technology developed, it wasn't, apparently everybody's just focused on current cases coming in.
Lieutenant Rose says Kathy's kit was sent to the lab back in the 90s, but back then you had to have a known DNA sample to test against the kit's DNA. Now you don't have to have a suspect. Today's technology allows for the storing of DNA collected from convicted felons and arrestees.
When I realized that it had not been retested, and with the circumstance of the case, it made me sick.
Now hundreds of cold cases are back on the front burner. Over the past couple of years, Mobile police created a special victims unit and devoted a detective to cold cases.
We have submitted to date, I believe, 693 kits for testing, for retesting.
Of those, 84 cases got DNA hits, a step forward for those victims.
Don't ever give up hope, and don't ever stop praying. Ever.
As for Bailey, he's now a convicted rapist. Last month, a jury took only 30 minutes to return a guilty verdict, meaning she'll celebrate her 82nd birthday in May with gifts she thought would never come: justice and peace.
I really wanted to go over there and just hit him real as hard as I could hit him. I didn't care if I killed him or not, it wouldn't have mattered. And I guess that's what got me through it, I got to finally see who it was. Unbelievable.
Her only hope now is that this monster dies in prison.
I just thank God he's where he is, so he won't do this again to anyone.
Paul Bailey is currently serving a life sentence for other crimes, but when he goes before a judge for a sentencing hearing next month, prosecutors will ask for another life sentence without the possibility of parole. Meanwhile, Kathy used to not be able to fall asleep before 4:30 a.m., the time of the attack. Now she's going to sleep well before midnight and is finally able to truly rest.